Hey guys, welcome back to another Pick a Card reading. I'm so excited to do today's topic. It was actually a requested topic from one of my beautiful clients and friend. So shout out to Sade for recommending this topic. We're going to dive into how can you best support the children in your life. I love this topic so much. I think it's so important and it's such a good question to ask. So that's what we're going to be asking Spirit today. I'm so sorry about the landscaping noise. There is some landscaping going on outside. Hopefully they're almost done because they've been at it now for hours. So fingers crossed they are almost done, okay? But I was really feeling the energy right now. I didn't want to wait anymore. So I'm actually going to go ahead and insert an image of 3 decks that you can choose from today. As always, take a deep breath and choose the deck that calls out to you the most. And I'll see you at your reading. Okay, so welcome to your reading if you've selected number 1 or this deck right here. This is going to be your reading all about how you can best support the children in your life. So you don't have to be a parent. This could just be regarding any child in your life, any children that are around you that could potentially be learning from you, being influenced by you in some way. Okay, so we are first going to ask the child's current energy. So let's ask, what is the child's current energy? The child could be a Scorpio. Let's see. What is the child's current energy? The child or the children? Okay. Okay, so I'm seeing Gemini. So the child could be a Gemini or have that as a prominent placement somewhere in their chart. But the first thing I'm getting with the child is that this child might not love being in social settings. They might not love being like in person, playing, talking, sharing. They might like to be alone, and it could be that other people or other children love this child's energy. They like to be around this child or they want to play with this child. But the child is just more like imaginative. They could be more creative. They could be more of an introvert, more internal, where they find a lot of peace and comfort just being alone and maybe living in their imagination. This child could actually be very spiritually connected, even if that's not how they are perceiving it themselves, but I do see like them being just very creative. So pay attention to this child's, creations, creativity, or, make sure that you support this child in whatever it is that they like to do. Maybe they like to draw or they like to play, role play. I feel like whatever it is that they do for creativity, it's very divine. It's like very connected to source. This child seems to be very connected to source. This child seems to be kind of like, they don't like being a part of the crowd. So don't be alarmed if you see like, oh, my kid doesn't like to play, or, he's off doing his own thing, or he doesn't want to leave the house, or she doesn't have any friends. Being worried that she or he is a loner or antisocial. I feel like this child is just introverted, but I'm not seeing it as being like a bad thing. I think that they have like a really rich, deep internal world and a really rich, imagination and creativity. And I think it's because they're very connected to source. This child has not lost that connection, which is amazing. Most children haven't lost that connection, to be clear, but sometimes after a certain age, they do lose that connection, depending on what they're being exposed to, how they're being raised, and all of that, right? I see that this child is still very much so in touch with that spiritual side of things. I also think that this child makes good choices for themselves. Maybe if you see that they're retreating and they don't really want to hang out with people, I feel like they feel this genuinely. I feel like this child is just being honest with what they're feeling. It's kind of like, oh, no, I'd rather not. Like, I'd rather not engage with them, or I'd rather not play outside with you, or talk on the phone with you, or, I'd rather not play on the playground with you, whatever it is. Like, this child really acts based off of what they feel inside. They're very intuitive, and they'd rather go at it alone. I just see someone that would rather be by themselves, and it's because they have enough within themselves to keep them occupied. Like, they have a really big and bright, beautiful imagination where they can travel and experience so much just in their own mind, in their own imagination. Like, this child doesn't seem like someone that needs to be out there and experience and talk and be hands-on. Of course, those things are healthy to a certain extent, but some of us are introverted, some of us are extroverted. So I feel like this is an introverted child. And so what I would say just right off the bat is that, don't teach this child that being this way is bad, because I feel like we live in a society where it's being taught to us that being extroverted and those qualities are the ones that are celebrated and are the ones that are valuable. But really, it's just preference at the end of the day. Of course, being introverted can be correlated with having some kind of social anxiety, but that's not always the case. Sometimes people just prefer to not speak too often, to just listen, to observe, to gather their thoughts before they formulate an idea or how they feel. So yeah, I just feel like being introverted is something that can be looked down upon, where it's something that it's like, no, you can't be like that, because society says that being out there and being outspoken and not being shy and being okay with being the center of attention is where it's at, is what you should strive to be, because those are all qualities of being successful. And but we're all different and we all express ourselves differently. So if your child is introverted, maximize on those qualities. Don't try to change them. It's just who they are. And instead, encourage them to use their creativity, encourage them to use their alone time to act on what it is, that they're thinking about and the things that are coming to them through their imagination. And like, for example, I'm thinking about my kids. They love Minecraft because they can build, and I wish I can show you guys the amazing things that they build on Minecraft. So it's something like that, where it's like, if your kid likes to be alone indoors, take advantage of the qualities that they naturally possess and encourage them to kind of like use that time to do something meaningful and valuable, that it's going to continue to spark their creativity and have them think, and create and get confident about their ideas and their imagination and do something with that. Like, write stories. I'm always telling my kids to create their own characters, create a story, write a story, draw the pictures. They love to draw. And you can create your own book, like stuff like that, where it's like, encourage them to use this beautiful imagination that they have to create. Because it seems that they have this natural, like, creative ability, or just like this internal world that is so broad and big and can keep them occupied. So instead of thinking like, oh, my kid doesn't like to do anything, they just stay inside all day and play games, you would think of playing Minecraft as, oh, he's just playing video games and just stuck on his iPad or stuck on the tablet or whatever, stuck on the laptop doing nothing. It's like, no, they're not doing nothing. They're being creative, they're building. And you can play off of what they already like and what they naturally do and encourage them to continue exploring that and developing what already comes naturally to them. So I guess like the message here about this child is that this child seems to be an introverted child. This child seems to like having alone time. Maybe they don't love being around other children, playing around other children. I'm not seeing that they hate it. I'm seeing that they probably prefer to be alone because they have enough happening inside of them. This child seems to be very creative and they have such a rich internal world that can keep them occupied and busy and is enough. It's stimulating enough. And that's probably why they don't crave, too many outings. Even if they do get many offers, like many invitations and opportunities to play with other children, they might not prefer it. Because as of right now, it's not really something that they need. I see them being fulfilled, being alone, just being already like occupied with what's happening in their head and their imagination, what their dreams are, what they daydream about, the stories they make in their head. I would say encourage your child to do something with that messaging that they're receiving, because it seems to be very aligned and connected to source. It looks beautiful. It looks like a beautiful energy. Your child might also do really well, like in high elevations for some reason, like maybe take your child hiking or like up on like mountain views. They might like being like on mountaintops or like overlooking something. Maybe they enjoy like the fresh air up there. If you want to get them out into nature and out of the house and stuff like that, I think that's what they would enjoy, versus like going to an amusement park or a playground or a play date or something like that. It seems that they would want something more relaxed, chill, the less people the better, and like they like probably would enjoy being up on an elevation for some reason, is what I'm seeing here. But yeah, I'm thinking this child does really good probably as well with writing, telling stories, communication, like some type of communications. Okay, so let's move on to how they view you. How does this child view you? Okay, let's see. This child views you as being very capable, very intelligent, very in your power, completely taken care of. This child sees you as being well put together, having everything that you need, being very busy. And I think they see you as just being like very playful as well. I think they might see you as being a little bit different than them in the sense that you do like to talk a lot with other people, message, stay in communication with many people. You like to have fun and, be like in an ambience where it's fun, it's exciting, it's stimulating. I think this child sees that you have a lot of people that you talk to, that you communicate with, that know you, and that's why your hands are always tied and you're always busy. You're always kind of up to something, doing something, working on something, pretty busy and occupied yourself. And they just do see you as very smart, intelligent, and as having everything, having it all, and being very well taken care of. Of course, this is from the child's perspective. So whether you see yourself in this light or not, I don't know, but this is how your child is viewing you. I think this child sees that, you've got your life in order, you've got it together, you're in charge, you're in control, and they see you as knowing a lot. They see you as having all of the answers and, just being on the move, and always knowing what you got to do. And this child sees you also as being very wise, having all of the answers. I mean, I know I used to see the adults that way too when I was younger. I thought they knew everything. They had all of the answers. And it's so funny that that's so far from the truth. Once you're an adult, you're like, yeah, right, no one knows anything. But this child just sees you like being on top of everything, being a busy person, but being on top of it, being successful, handling business, being able to handle everything, handle your life, take care of things. Like they just see you like being a problem solver, like solving things. When things get difficult, you know how to make them good again. You know how to calm the waters, how to bring stability again and move past difficult situations. They see you having that capability and that wisdom and that knowledge to always know how to straighten things out and how to make things work again, go back to smooth sailing. So let's see, what is your current influence on them? So I do think that you have a very like lasting influence on this child. Like this child has been learning from you, has been picking things up from you for a long time, over a long period of time. So a lot of like your habits and the way that you think and the things that you do, this child picks up on it. And it's kind of like being infused in how they do things too, like how they think or how they behave or certain mannerisms or certain perspectives and outlooks. I think this child takes your approach of like, you know, because they see you as being able to navigate like difficult things and bring things back into some kind of like stability or balance. So you kind of influence them to do the same thing. Like whenever they feel any kind of pressure or tension or any type of like problematic feelings inside, they calm down. Like you're teaching this child to take a deep breath, to not act on those initial impulses, to stay calm, not to act in the heat of the moment, to wait till you are calmer, you know, to wait till you're in a better headspace, in a better position to make a decision or to see how you truly feel about something. I feel like this child, you're influencing this child to slow down, to pause, to really see how they feel about things, to really see what it is that they want to do. Yeah, you're definitely teaching this child really good things. Your influence on this child is very good. It's kind of like to take it slow. The influence you have on this child, you're teaching this child to take it slow, to whenever they're feeling any kind of agitation, to take a deep breath, to go take a nap, to go rest, to go breathe, to not act on those feelings, you know, like to not act in the heat of the moment, and instead to kind of like wait till they're calmer, till things have settled down, for them to really see how they're truly feeling, for them to really analyze the situation, to see the truth about it once they are more regulated and calm, so that they can have a clear perspective of how it is that they'd like to move forward. You're teaching this child to like take a step back, get a bird's eye view on things, like to have like some type of an elevated perspective. I'm telling you, this child is very intuitive. This child is so intuitive, and they're like so good because I feel like they're so calm, cool, collected. Even in like the midst of chaos, they will retreat and try to make sense out of it in a very calm manner, so that they can be sure how it is that they feel and what it is that's really happening here. Like they like to know the truth. They don't want confusion. If they feel confused, that's kind of like their indication of like, hold on, I need to go find answers because I don't have all of the answers right now. I'm confused about something. I feel like these children like to have details, like to know what's going on. Like, you know, they look like really good, they're really good at problem solving, really good at thinking, at trying to like maintain the peace, maintain balance, maintain order. They seem to be very patient kids. These kids would probably be the type of kids that would pass the marshmallow test. You know, like that experiment that they do on children, that they'll put like marshmallows or candy like right in front of the child, and they'll be like, you can have these, but you have to wait till I get back. Don't touch them. And it's like they're tempted to like eat the candy because the adult leaves the room, and they're trusted with like waiting until the adult comes back into the room before they can have a piece. And some kids just cannot help themselves. They'll go for it and they just have to eat some. And other kids will literally sit there and be patient and wait for the adult. Like this seems like that kid that is gonna be patient, is going to wait for the adult to come. They're not going to act on their impulses. And I think it's actually been studied that those kids that wait are like the ones that end up being like the more successful ones in life. So I feel like that's the influence you have on this child, or that you will have, is very good. It's kind of like learning how to think clearly and calmly, and not in the midst of like some really big emotion and making decisions when you're angry, or when something pops off, like when something first happens, going off of those feelings. Like this kid knows to take it easy, to take it slow, to slow down, to think, to, again, the way that they see you, that's so cute. Like they see you like being that way, of the way, like the way that you're handling it. It's like you're teaching them how to be the same way, of like bringing things back into order, bringing things back into stability. When things get out of hand, when things get chaotic, you teach them how to make decisions from a very clear, calm, cool, collected place. That's amazing. That's beautiful. They are picking up on that, even if it's in a very subtle way, even if this isn't something that you talk to them about. They're seeing how you handle these situations, and it's kind of like they're learning how to handle it in the same way that you do, which is very successfully, it seems. And I think this is very like subconscious. Like I don't think that this is something that you're necessarily like outwardly sitting with them and talking with them about. It's something that they're just picking up on like subconsciously. Like they see how you do, how you handle things, how you are. Maybe they hear you say like, I need a couple of days to think about this, to see how I really feel. Or I don't feel great, I feel triggered right now, so I know I can't make a decision about this right now. I need a couple of days, I need to breathe, like I need to meditate on this. And they're picking up on that because they're seeing like your approach to handling life is very successful, and like it always ends up working out for you. So it's like they're learning how to also be like more slow paced, and like why moving slow and finding peace and taking that time to really see how you think and feel about something is important and is beneficial. Okay, so let's move on then to how can you best support this child. So what can you do right now to best support this child? Okay, we got then we also got these two cards here as well that fell out. Okay, you can best support this child by allowing them to be who they are naturally and feeling very comfortable and confident in whoever that is. Because I feel like they might have some kind of like self-esteem issues, or they might not think that they like have anything to offer. Or maybe like at this point in time, they think that they're weird, or that there's something, like wrong with them. Because again, maybe they don't have like a lot of friends. But I do feel like that's very like, they choose that. They're choosing not to have friends. But I think that what they pick up on is like that being popular and having friends and being well known and being seen, and, that this is like what success is, or like this is what makes someone important in some way. So kind of like letting them know that how they are now isn't how they're always going to be. Like they're still growing, they're still developing, there's still so much that they have to learn, and to really support them in every part of their journey and every stage that they're in, to make sure that you set that example of like, feel confident and proud in who you are the whole way through, that they don't have to attain a certain goal or like wait till they hit a certain accomplishment or something, like till they hit a certain milestone, or until I do this, then I'm worthy. It's like, no, you're worthy now. You're always worthy. Like help them really develop that self-esteem, that strong sense of self, where they are confident in who they are. This child could also really like the color red. So maybe they feel really confident in the color red, or you can buy them like red clothes so that they can step more into that if they need that confidence. Because I feel like this child, I'm telling you, this child has something. I feel like this child is going to be a speaker. This child is going to have some kind of insight or wisdom or something that they're cultivating through their life, that they're going to be able to like I was saying, this child has something that they're going to teach. They're cultivating some kind of a wisdom, whatever it is. It could be on anything. Like this child is learning something, and they're going to be able to learn it to the point where they're going to be able to talk about it, teach it, explain it. Yeah, this child, again, has like some kind of like the ability or the capability to have like an elevated perspective, or to have really good communication, to be able to communicate truths, whether it's through speaking or writing or some way they're going to teach. And I think that they're just working on like their confidence, feeling comfortable in themselves and who it is that they are, and loving themselves throughout this entire process, since childhood all the way into adulthood, so that they come into adulthood just being prepared, ready, sure of themselves, confident, because they have like a natural leadership ability. They have like a really big leadership qualities here. And I also think that this child is really great with structure. So structuring something for them, whether it's their entire day, their routines, or like if they have some kind of a schedule that they follow, that would be very beneficial for this child. Being very mindful of like their social media consumption, what it is that they're seeing, observing, picking up on online, because I feel like this could have something to do with them not feeling like they're enough in some way because of something that they see or observe, and that it doesn't align with how they're perceiving themselves. And so it can make them feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, or give them some kind of like self-confidence issues. Understand that this child is very intuitive. This child is very internal. This child has a lot of deep emotions, can feel deeply. This child can also pick up like on environmental things too. So if you're not in a good mood, or if there's tension around, it's like they can feel it. So to be mindful of that. Also, don't let this child take too much responsibility too early on. I feel like this child might be so mature or so emotionally intelligent in some way that they have like the tendency to like take on more responsibility than they should. Of course, take this, it depends how old your child is. If you think that your child is already at the level where they can be taking on more responsibility, I'm seeing that this child is very responsible. This child likes order, structure, routines, schedules, things to be done to a high standard. This child is going to be able to like achieve achievements that take a long time to achieve. Like this child is a patient child. This is a patient child that is going to have what it takes, to like see something through, to go the distance, to reach milestones, to be successful, through hard work, through dedication. But make sure that this child doesn't think that that's the only way that they can get love, or that they can get acknowledgement, is through their hard work, is through what they can accomplish. Make sure this child knows that they are worthy right now, regardless of what they can accomplish. Because it's almost like they have this feeling of like, oh, well, once I do this, or once I'm at this level, then I'll be successful, then I'll be loved, then people will see me, like something like that, But yeah, like I was saying, like if this child is like at an appropriate age to take on like certain responsibilities, and let that happen, of course. But this child seems to be like a very responsible child that takes on responsibilities. So if they're still a child, you know what I mean? Like that should not be in that role of like giving advice to a parent, or like supporting a parent, Don't let it happen like in an unhealthy way where they're kind of like being the rock for a parent that can't be the rock for themselves. But again, like I wasn't saying that at all with your energy, according to how this child views you. Of course, that's not how they view you. They view you as being very capable. So again, just take it as it resonates, of course. But yeah, just like being a guiding light. I feel like this child really, really like listens. They really listen and they learn. They're very observant. So your actions, like make sure you're mindful of your actions, what you do. They're looking at you. They're looking at how you go about life, what you do, how you handle things. Like if you have some type of like spiritual guidance, or like advice or something. I don't know. I'm also seeing like a lot of masculine energy here, so I don't know if you're a masculine watching this or if the child is a masculine, but I see like that brotherhood and like feeling a part of something, feeling like they're a part of a group, and teaching them, you know, like making education like really important, making learning really important, tradition, and sticking to rituals, because this child has the capability of being like a teacher, an educator. If it's not spiritual teachings, it could be religious teachings that I'm seeing here. But this child has the capability of like being like a mentor. I feel like this child just needs structure. That's what it is. This child is a very creative child. They have really big, beautiful, bright ideas. You should encourage them to continue to explore those, but they need help in like learning how to structure it, you know, like how to have some type of an order, a structure, so that they can like put those ideas into motion, into use. You know, so like we were talking, like if they love stories and role playing and creating characters and all of this stuff, it's like, what can we do with all of that? Let's create a story, maybe take a class on how to structure a story, how to tell a story. I feel like they need to learn like how to be good with structure, because they seem to be so already like intuitive and in touch with like that part of life, like that more right-brained part of life. Like they're really, this is like a very like right-brained type of child. So they need balance. So they kind of need to balance all of that with more like left-brain stuff, with structure, with order. Like how are we going to contain, you know, all of this big, beautiful imagination that you have? Like how are we going to funnel it down into the material world, you know? But again, like providing like rules for this child, structure, teaching them about like higher values or esoteric principles, you know, and like telling them like how structure is important, but like not to let like dogma or anything ruin that, you know, like having rules and having structure is important, but you know, because it's like you need that to have a strong foundation, but not letting it get to the point where it's like you become rigid and unmovable and unchangeable. So it's like teaching them about that, something about that, like finding a balance with that. So yeah, I feel like they need like very masculine energy, masculine teachings, those type of things. Maybe they just need a strong masculine figure in their lives. I want to just really quickly to recommend a book, because I feel like this child could probably, they'll do good with like spiritual teachings or stuff like that. And I have this book, it's called The Eternal Stories of the Upanishads. And it's like this really small book, and it just takes different stories out of the Upanishads and it makes them like condensed and smaller and easier to consume. They can even become like bedtime stories, something like this. Or the way that I use them is I will read like a chapter with my kids and then we'll discuss. I'll usually do that before we do yoga or before we meditate or something. We'll ease into whatever spiritual practice we're going to do for that day by first reading a story and talking about it. And yeah, I really recommend that one. So if you want to check it out, maybe your child would like that or could really benefit from that. Because I think this child is really smart, really intelligent. Like if you teach them stuff like this, like they're going to become proficient and then they're going to be able to like teach it as well or something. But yeah, how you can best support this child is to let them know that they are perfect right here, right now, just as they are, to help them with their self-esteem, to help them feel good about themselves and who they are, and to help them feel confident in who they are, and in providing some kind of structure for them. They'll do really good by having some kind of order, structure, routine in their lives. And understanding that this child does feel deeply, they're very emotional. So taking care of like your own emotional well-being and stuff, because I feel like they can pick up on it. On a subconscious level, they can pick up on energy. So making sure to cleanse the space, to take care of your own emotional well-being so that they don't take that on, you know? And in you providing this kind of like structure for them, to make sure that they don't become too rigid to the point that then they are too confined. There needs to be like a fine balance there. And also be mindful about what it is that they're seeing what it is that they're consuming, like on social media, what it is that they're correlating to success, and, you know, whatever it is that they're correlating to, like being noticed and seen and being popular, it might be at odds with how they view and perceive themselves. So yeah, that's just another little message there to be mindful of. Your child might also be a child that gets like really hyper focused on what it is that they're doing. Maybe they get like tunnel vision. So maybe like also encouraging them to expand and branch out and to explore different things. Travel could be really good for this child, because I think this child might be like a child that really likes to stay home. So encouraging them to read things that they would never read, or go to places that they won't go to, or watch something that they wouldn't naturally watch, just to kind of like broaden their horizons and their interests. I think that could also help them as well. Okay, you guys, that was your message. I truly hope that this reading has served you. I do offer personal readings. My information will be in the description, so you can reach out if you are interested. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye. Hey guys, welcome to your reading. If you chose group number 2 or this deck right here, we are going to be looking into how can you best support the children in your life, whether you are a parent and it's your own children, or it's relatives, or you work with kids, any children that are exposed to you, around you. How can you best influence these kids? So first, we're going to start the reading by asking, what are these children that are around you? What could their current energy potentially be right now? Let's see, what are their current energies? Okay, this could be a very young child that you're asking about. So they still don't have like a really good grasp on the world yet, you know. This child is in a point in their lives where they're really learning. Like, you know how they say children are like sponges, and I think these children, like their foundation for how they perceive the world and how they view the world is being formed still. And I think like what they're learning, like what is being cultivated, I feel like it's, unfortunately, it's like about being like self-righteous, or like how to rule, like how to have absolute power over things, how to rule, how to conquer. I feel like these are the things that are being imprinted on this child, is how to be successful, like how to be bossy, how to talk to people, what you have to say, how to promote yourself. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that this child is getting like great advice on how it is that they should communicate, and because I don't see that it's like genuine. I feel like what's being taught to them is kind of like how to be successful. Like, this is what you have to say. Like, this is, you know, you have to learn how to like talk up a good game. You have to learn how to schmooze, or you have to like promote yourself. You have to like make sure that people know that you're the best, or that you're the best option. And even if this is not like what you're teaching this child, this is like the energy that this child is around, or like this is like what, you know, they're going through right now. I just feel like this is like what's being cultivated. Like, this is like, it's still not totally solidified, okay? Like, this child still is a child at the end of the day. Like, they're still, it seems that they're very young, but the energy that is around them is like what is being solidified, like the foundation that is being created, the perspective, the lens that is being cultivated here for them to live their life out of and like view this world from, is one that has to do with like how to be successful and how to win and how to be victorious and how to do that no matter what. And for whatever reason, this is like putting a lot of pressure on this kid. I feel like this kid feels like a lot of weight on their back. Maybe they're like around people that are like business owners, and like they eavesdrop and they can hear the conversations, or they can like pick up on like what's happening around them, and like the things that they hear, they're seeing like, oh, I need to like learn how to be that way too, and this feels heavy. I don't know, something about like whatever they are currently around, it just feels heavy. It feels like a lot. It's giving them pressure, like it's making them feel pressure, and it's making them feel anxious. So, you know, many times we don't mean to, you know, we're just going through our own lives, but our kids are always listening. Like if you have kids around you, just know that even if like they're busy, they look busy, or they look to be occupied, or they look like they're not even paying attention, they are paying attention. They're picking up on things. They're like sponges. They know what's happening. And like, depending on how you're moving and what they see you do, if it's not you, it doesn't have to be you, you know, but like the people that are surrounding this kid, like the majority of the time, they're seeing that like success and victory is really important. Like they're seeing like, oh, like what's important is being successful, being victorious, knowing how to self-promote, knowing how to put myself in that position, knowing how to talk. Like, I don't know, like maybe they see the adults around them like lying a lot, or like making themselves look better than what they are because they're trying to like get something, you know? And so I feel like this child is learning that. Like they're learning how to be that way too. Even if something about this doesn't feel good to this child, it's almost like they're learning like, oh, well, this is like what the world is about. Like, this is how it is. Like, this is what I need to be like, and what I need to learn how to be like in order to be successful too, or in order, like, you know, like they're being taught like maybe that this is what's valuable, is being this way. Even if they see that there's like a lot of like discord and heavy feelings surrounding the situation, it's almost like this is what's being ingrained in them. This is like the foundation that is being set in them based off of the energies that they are around. This child looks to be a very loving child. I feel like this child just craves love. Like I just don't feel like this child is being taught like how to be real, or like how to value like the small things in life. And when you're a child, you can marvel and be excited about even the smallest things, right? But maybe like the people around them are like, no, like this is what's important, and this is what you should strive for. Only when you're at this level will you be happy, or something like that, where this child is still kind of like focused on like the small things and being in the moment and being more in touch with like their creativity, and not being so focused yet like on victory and being disciplined to reach a certain type of outcome. I'm seeing that they're learning that like to be successful and to reach an outcome that is considered to be successful, you know, however it is that they're being taught success is like heavy on this kid. Like this kid is feeling like, damn, that seems like pretty intense stuff, you know, like what I'm gonna have to do. It seems like a hard, long journey, or it seems like I'm all alone. It just seems like something they don't want to necessarily do. It seems like it goes against what they naturally feel and what they're feeling in the moment. And like it just seems undesirable to them right now. But it's like slowly forming their outlook and their perspective. This is like a core belief is forming in this child. And it has to do with like how to be successful, how to be abundant, how to be a boss, how to make money potentially, how to be number one, how to be on top. Again, like even if this isn't something that's being like instilled consciously and like willingly, it's like what this child is surrounded by. It's what they're seeing. And I feel like they don't even know it's happening. I feel like they themselves they're not even aware of like the core beliefs that are being instilled in them. Like it's just what they're observing. It's like what they know, you know, like because of what they see. And they're probably seeing also like the heavy parts of this, of like how heavy it is to like put on a front or put on a show or try to win or always try to self-promote or be bossy. Like they're seeing like the harsh effects of that. Maybe they're seeing the adults around them like feeling burdened and stressed out and overworked and, you know, really trying to be forceful and like making something happen. And they're seeing like, whoa, life is like stressful, you know, because they're seeing the adults around them kind of being stressed, like being stressed. And they're also maybe witnessing like some harsh things as well. I don't know, like just some harsh endings or harsh conversations or people being betrayed, you know, like if their parents feel like betrayed, like they're seeing that happen, like, oh, this world, like people can betray you or people can hurt you, or maybe they're witnessing these adults around them doing that to other people. You're talking up a good game, you're self-promoting, but then at the end of the day, like you hate that guy, or like, you know, like they're seeing like the adults around them like talking crap about someone that they were just engaging with, and they're like, oh, so that's how it is. So that's how it works. Like you say what you have to say to that person's face, but then like behind closed doors, this is how you really feel, like something like that. But yeah, it's like something having to do with how they work with others, how they work in groups, how groups work, you know, like in general. So yeah, we're going to keep looking into this. Let's move on to the next part of the reading, which is going to be, how do they view you? So let's see, how does this child view you? Let's see. So they're viewing you as being like very self-contained, a little withdrawn, but loving. They're also seeing that you're a very like healing person, healing presence. But yeah, they're seeing you go through something difficult. They're seeing you go through some kind of a hardship, some kind of a difficult ending, but they're seeing you process and navigate this ending like with grace, you know? Okay. They're seeing you being a very nurturing person. So they're seeing like that you have a nice house, that you always have food at this house. They feel like they can always come to you if they need a house, or if they need food, or if they need any type of like survival needs. They're seeing you as being someone that can really provide that for them. They're seeing you as someone that's nurturing, very nurturing as well. Someone that's like very connected and in tune with like the environment and with nature. They probably correlate you to like loving to be outdoors or loving to be by water. Again, they're seeing you like as very like an inward focused person, because in both of these images their eyes are closed. So maybe they see you with your eyes closed a lot. Maybe they see you sleeping, or when they think about you being like very maybe like reserved, like very quiet, maybe like you don't talk a lot, but very nurturing. Like they feel very comfortable around you. They also see you as being someone that loves to learn, loves to read, loves to like gather knowledge, information. Maybe you're someone that like you share with them like what it is that you read. Like, oh, today I read about this. Like, are you interested in knowing about this? Or like you're always like kind of like giving little facts or like tidbits of what it is that you come across, and like the things that you read and the things that you're learning and you're studying. You like to share the information that you receive. They're also seeing you as being a very giving person. So maybe like you provide a lot for this child, because I see that they feel very safe, protected emotionally, as well as like materially. Like they feel very safe and secure, and like this person will be there for me. Like if I need anything emotionally, this person is someone that is going to be there for me. And they never see you like being overwhelming with your emotions. They don't see you as an emotional person, because like they don't see you crying. You know what I mean? Like they don't see you being emotional. Like they don't see you like crying or like being overly expressive. It's like you're very neutral. Like they see you as being like very neutral, very cool, calm, collected, very safe, secure, and like they can get information from you. They can learn a lot from you, and they can get material things from you. Maybe they ask you for an allowance or for money, or you give them money or an allowance, or they think about that. Maybe you're someone like every time you see them, like you give them something, like, oh, here's $1, or here's, so I brought some coins for your piggy bank, something like this. They're correlating you with like giving to them. Overall, it's a very beautiful energy, but they are seeing you go through something difficult, through like a difficult ending where you may have been hurt, betrayed, where you may have like hit some kind of a rock bottom, but they see you handling it very well, or they're seeing you coming out of that very well. They can pick up on the fact that you have some kind of like deep wounds or pain. Yeah, I think that they're seeing you kind of like thriving after a difficult time, or maybe they remember you being different than what you are now. Like maybe they remember like that you were more quiet, or you didn't come around a lot, or you were more sad, or you just left somewhere, or something just happened, like something ended where it just was consuming you in some way. And now they're seeing you like do something else, do something different, and step into like a new phase in life where you're feeling so much better. So let's see, what is your current influence on them? Let's look into what is your current influence on this child. I feel like this child is learning from you, because it's like they saw you go through something difficult and like rise to the top and thrive and be successful, or at least this is how they're perceiving you. Again, this is like from their perspective, guys. I'm not saying that this is like the reality of the situation, or that this is how you feel. This is like from the child's perspective, right? You've influenced this child to know that they can come out of anything, that they can come out of dark times, that they can get better. I don't know if they saw you being sick, if they saw you going through something really difficult, but they see you on the other side of that, and they're seeing you being successful, and they're seeing you being happy and feeling safe, and looking like you have a lot to give, a lot to offer. So I feel like they see that no matter how tough life can be, that they can always move forward, and they can always do better. They can always get out of a hard situation. They can always overcome. Your influence on them teaches them to be confident in who they are, to expand, to be an expansive person, to like want more, to like not settle. Your influence on them is like, I have the whole world, like I have the whole world to explore, like what else do I want to engage with, or what else do I want to make happen? Like you're teaching them to be very, I'm feeling like that conquering energy again. Like it's like they want to conquer. It's like there's a whole big world out there. Like what else can I conquer? Like what else can I go get? And how to have that power behind them, like how to have that oomph, that self-confidence that it takes for you to go after what you want and make the plans and put them in motion and make it happen. You're teaching this child that they can have whatever they want, like as long as they put their mind on it and they make plans and they're confident that they can have whatever they want. You're also teaching them, like that they can overcome like any self-limiting perspective that they have on themselves. So if this child feels like, oh no, like I'm not good enough, or I'm not going to be able to do that, or like helpless in any way, like if this child feels helpless in any way, it's like you are teaching them like, no, you are not helpless. That is all a product of your own mind. You are never helpless. You can be happy. There's so much things that you can have, that you can attain, that you can accomplish, that can make you happy, that can make you feel joy and bliss, and make you feel like life is a party, like life is a big celebration. You're influencing this child on like, find your happiness. And you're also influencing this child to believe that happiness also has to do with like marriage, with love, with having a stable home. You're teaching them like that that's part of like wish fulfillment, That's part of what they should be focusing on, and what they should want is like a happy home, like good roots, a good family, a good love life, good relationships, like you find your husband, or you find your wife, or you find a partner, and you build a life, and you create these solid roots, and you have like this good foundation, and you guys have a home, and this is happiness, and this is what success is. And you keep going, even though you have that, you don't stay there. You keep going. Always strive for more, for better. Like there's a whole big world out there that you can just keep going, like you can keep like traveling. Maybe your influence is teaching this kid that they can travel, like despite having like a home base, that they still want to explore the world and get out there and be confident, and that any limitations that they feel are not real, and it's just them not seeing clearly, and that they can always get through anything difficult, and they can always push through and move ahead and charge ahead and be happy and be successful. Because maybe this child struggles with that themselves, like maybe they don't have the best self-esteem, and they're seeing like, oh, I know to be successful, I need to have that kind of self-esteem. I need to be vivacious. I need to be vibrant. I need to shine bright. I need to like make plans and get out there and make things happen. And that's how I'll be successful. But maybe like a part of that kid doesn't feel like they're like that, or they have that. Because I want to say that this is amazing. I want to say like, that's good that this is your influence on this kid. But something about this moon card, it's like if it's in a negative way or something, I don't know. I think this child needs balance. This child needs to know that things take time, that, like they need to know that they don't have to push. I feel like this child is being taught that they have to push, and force, and make things happen and plan, and I feel like what they really need is to know that they don't have to force and push, that they can just trust in life and be themselves, be who they are, and trust in their intuition more. But let's see, let's move on to the next. So how can you best support this child? Okay, how can you best support this child? I have the Four of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. Okay, so automatically I'm getting how you can best support this child is not to give them too much, because we did get that Six of Pentacles back here. So I feel like maybe like you freely give to this kid, like you're always giving them what it is that they need, or over giving, or always providing, which you're supposed to do for a child, obviously, if that's your job to do that. But I mean, like, don't overdo it, because part of how you can best support them is the Four of Pentacles. So it's like not giving them, like not, like withholding money or withholding resources. Because if they like get used to this overindulgence in things, then they're just gonna like not value it, or they're not gonna learn how to work for things if it's just given to them, or something like that. Oh, it's also saying like, don't think that you have to only provide for this kid in a material way. Like this kid needs emotional love and support, and like they need connection and bonding, because maybe you like to provide like material things, and Spirit is saying they need more like emotional support, like friendship, like love, sharing, coming together to have a good time, to celebrate, and to learn how to value good connections and good relationships. Because I don't think this child is being taught that. Like, and I was getting that from the beginning, is, this is not like a shot in any way at you, okay? Like, most of us, like, we don't mean to do these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of us, if we're teaching our kids something that, is not beneficial to them, like, we're not doing that on purpose. We're human. We all have our flaws. So this isn't like to get on you, in any way, okay? Like, don't feel guilty about this. Just use this as an opportunity for like becoming aware of something and being able to change something. Because I see here with this hanged man that it's not fully set in yet. Like they're still learning, there's still time for you to teach this kid differently. And I think it has to do with relationships, because I think like the adults around this child is teaching them that they have to be fake, that they have to schmooze, that they have to self-promote, that they have to, say things that they don't mean, or do things that they don't mean. If it means that they have to be successful, if it means that they have to reach the top, and it's affecting how they're viewing like other people, because it's like almost like I was picking up too back here in the first row, that it's almost like, oh, you're like this, you say this and you're like this to this person's face, but then like behind closed doors, this is really how you feel, or this is really what it is. So it's like they're learning how to be deceptive. Like they're learning how to be deceptive. They're learning how to be good liars, and how to like not be emotional, like how to like keep their emotions to themselves. Like not be super transparent about what they're really feeling or how they really feel, like to hold that in, to hold that back. And they're also learning like that it's all about material things. Like it's about like, what can I materially provide? Maybe they're learning money is really important, and how much money we have is important. Okay, so yeah, Spirit is saying to not give this kid too much material things, withhold on the material things. And what you need to be giving this kid more of is like love, and how to truly connect with others, how to share, how to have like a real true emotional bond to people, and how to really like connect to others. They need to learn how to have like a true emotional connection, how to have these genuine loving relationships for real, and not like these on the surface relationships, like you say what you have to say to get what you need to get. They need to be taught about like true emotional connection and friendship and bonding, and what that means and what that looks like, and they need to be modeled that in a healthier way. Okay, let's see. So maybe you want to like plan quality time with this child that has nothing to do with like material things. You guys can like go camping at the park and just be under the stars. So maybe, like schedule some fun things to do that has little to do with like material things, and just make it about more like quality time. Like make it about like human connection, and how are you doing? How are you feeling? Just talking with them, sharing with them on an emotional level, and supporting them on an emotional level, and like really creating like a really real connection, a real genuine bond, and teaching them that that's important. I feel like this child really needs that. They could use some of like that support, and just like love and hugs and more expression. Yeah, because like I didn't see that there was a lot of emotional expression, so maybe just like more hugs, more kisses, more affection. Less material things, less money, less, material presents and stuff of that nature. I feel like this child needs more support, more love, so that they can learn how to like navigate healthy relationships in their life, or learn what those look like. Learn like what true, real connection looks like. Your bond, your connection, your relationship will firsthand be like that role model, or like that will set that standard, of like, this is what true connection looks like, and so this is what I'm going to create too, like with my own friends. Our relationships that mirror, the relationship that I have with you, the viewer, from the child's perspective. It's kind of like being a good role model when it comes to friendship and bonding and love and support, feeling emotionally loved, feeling emotionally supported, so that they know how to do that, or what to look for, what to accept from friends. And they don't accidentally focus on something else when it comes to friendships and partnerships. Maybe what they're being taught to value is not the best, maybe they're being taught oh, you need to have a good home, and maybe they think this means you need to have a big house, a big mansion, and that's going to make you happy. And we all know that that's not true. I mean, maybe it can make you happy, but it's not the only thing that's going to make you happy. There needs to be an internal happiness that we all need to have and that we all need to possess as well. Our happiness can't just be focused on material things and a good house and don't you want to have a good husband or a good wife and a good house, and this is what you have to do, this is who you have to be. When in reality, all that they really need is to learn how to connect genuinely with others, and that will just naturally progress and unfold for them. Another way that you can best influence this child is by teaching them to be in their power, teaching them how much they themselves influence their own reality, teaching them about being in the driver's seat of their own life and not letting other things take the wheel, detrimental belief systems or trusting other people, thinking other people have the answers more than they do. It's they need to be taught that they have the power, they are in control, they create their lives, and that this power needs to be balanced, that they shouldn't want to be the only one in power, that there is a balance that is necessary. When you're working with other people, that everyone should have a say, that things should be fair, things should be balanced, equal. Maybe they need to be taught more about equality and not only trying to reach the top and being number one and being successful. And maybe they need to be taught about working with others and being fair and working in a way that is going to benefit everyone involved and not just them. Don't be selfish, don't only look out for yourself, but working with others, working with people, having an emotional connection with others is important. Worrying about how others feel, how others are benefiting is important. Just making sure that everything is very fair, ordered, balanced, equal give and take, and that they're not being taught to use their skills and everything that they have for them, everything they have going for them, that they're not being taught to be selfish with that and only think about themselves and how can they only progress themselves and elevate themselves, but really knowing how to work with others too. Learning that things take time. Things take time, and it's not always about quick success, oh, what's the quickest way to reach this expansion? It's not about that. It's about putting in the dedication, the effort, the hard work, committing yourself to something, and knowing that cultivating that momentum is enough. It's going to get you where you want to go. Knowing that hard work pays off and that they just have to be patient and keep things very ordered and keep things balanced. It's a really big message here, as well as the message about emotions, being capable of having real, true bonds and connections and relationships and friendships, and truly caring about others and only allowing people that truly care about them close to them. So this is how you can best influence this child. These are the things that you want to role model, that you want to show them, talk to them about. Just you being this way, they're going to learn from you and they're going to pick up on that. Because if they see you being deceptive and if they see you, pushing and forcing and trying to be successful, striving for success and doing whatever it takes, they're going to take the same approach to life. Even if it's not your intentions to teach them that this is the way, they're picking up on it. So teaching them that, like, yes, you do have to be disciplined, you do have to be determined, you do have to show up for things, but it's like doing so in a healthy way, in a way that it's fair, you know, not in a way that you're gonna like step on other people's toes, or you're gonna be in competition energy and you're looking to conquer. It's like in a way that is like you're staying in your own lane, you're committing yourself to something, you're studying, you're focused, you're showing up, you're putting in the work, and that in and of itself is going to take you where you need to get to, is your own effort, not you coming out here, you know, wanting to step on people's toes and force your way to the top and do whatever it takes. It's like, it's very subtle, this difference I'm trying to explain, but it's going to make all of the difference for this child. And it's going to help them like balance things out, you know, just be more balanced. And again, teaching them that good things don't happen overnight. You don't have to force and make things happen, force things to happen. Keep them more like in a process-oriented mentality, like process, instead of like outcome. You know, because I think they're looking at more of like the outcome. They're looking at like, oh, I just need to be successful. I just need to push through so I can get to the end goal, so that I can get to the destination. And it's like, teach them that it's about the journey. The journey is what counts, not so much the destination, you know? Because it's kind of like they have like this destination perspective where like they're looking for the prize, they're looking for the reward, they're looking for like the outcome, the success, versus like being more present in the everyday steps and actions and things that you have to do to get there. Okay, guys, so I truly hope that this message has served you. Remember, I do offer personal readings as well if you would like to ask any specific questions, or if you want to dive deeper into your own specific situation. I'd be more than happy to work with you. I will go ahead and leave all of my information in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye. Guys, welcome to your reading. If you chose number 3 or this deck right here, today we are looking into how you can best support the children in your life. You don't necessarily have to be a parent. We are just going to be taking a look at how you may be influencing any children around you and getting advice on how you can best support them at this time. So first, we are going to be looking into the energy of this child or of these children. What could the current energy of these kids be? If you recognize the energy and what we pick up on, then that's just further confirmation that this message is for you. So let's see the energy of these children currently. We have the Hanged Man, the Two of Wands, the Hierophant, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so let's see. I am recording your portion of the reading on an entirely different day, which is why there is an entirely different setup, in case any of you noticed. But yeah, let's get into it. So the current energies of these children. So I am seeing Pisces and Taurus. So the children you may be inquiring about may have these placements. This looks to be like a very overworked child. I feel like this child may have a lot of expectations put on them. Maybe they're a child that does very well in school, that is very academically gifted. And so it's something that maybe the parents or those that are close to this child brag a lot about, like, oh, so-and-so is amazing. You know, this child gets the best grades, or this child does so well in school, or this child is so well behaved, or this child, you know, this child is going to do great things. He or she is so intelligent. He or she is so smart. They're so advanced. You know, I'm just getting a lot of like that praise energy where the parents of this child are recognizing this child to be like very gifted, very intelligent. They're very proud of this child. So they brag a lot about this child. They get any opportunity they have to like tell their friends or those around them how great of a child that they have, and like all of their accomplishments, and how they know that this child is going to be so successful. It's also possible that this child has like a legacy, like something that they're expected to continue. So if like in this family, everyone is a school teacher or everyone is a doctor, it's kind of like this child knows like that that's expected of them too. So this child may be very responsible, very mature for their age, intelligent, advanced, a good role model, a hard worker, and very like self-sufficient. Like they could be very, like from a young age, they were already doing things maybe that other kids weren't yet. Maybe they were just like very responsible, where they had a lot more responsibility than other kids, or they could handle a lot more responsibility than other children. Like they stay on top of their stuff. Like maybe this kid like washes his own clothes and like gets his own breakfast, and like, you know, like this kid could be the type of kid that maintains their room, cleans their bed. No one has to tell them like what to do. They know what they have to do. They know if they have homework, they're going to sit down, they're going to do it. They take initiative. And I just feel like this kid could be very self-sufficient, very independent. And again, this is something that is praised. This is something that they see is valued in their family. So because of all of this that I've just explained, I feel that this child is living with a lot of pressure. I feel like this child has an immense amount of pressure put on them because they're hearing all of this praise, and they know that this way that they are is appreciated. They know that their parents love it or those around them love it. And so they try to uphold those personality traits. They try to maintain their efforts and the actions that they take to continue to get that praise, to continue to get that love. Because it is just a natural fact of behavioral analysis that when a child gets praised and gets encouraged and rewarded for having certain personality traits, that they are more prone to continue to exhibit those behaviors because they see the response that it gets. And if it's a positive response with like a positive outcome, such as, you know, like praise and love and you know, like showing that you're proud, it kind of like sets the bar at a certain standard. And then this child is like really hard on themselves. Like they don't want to disappoint anyone, you know, in case they're tired one day, or they don't feel motivated, or they just, you know, want to be a regular kid. It's almost like this child feels like they can't be those things or do those things because there's a certain image and expectation that's being put on them. So this child or these children are very much so like in their masculine energy, in their doing roles. They just want to like do whatever it is that they think is what's correct, what's right, what's going to continue to give them this love and this praise, as being seen as like cut out different than the rest, or like being above, like being placed on a pedestal for like these achievements and accomplishments that they've been able to reach. And since we are reading for children, as children, like these seem to be very accomplished kids, very successful kids, very hardworking, very independent, reliable, dependable kids that take initiative, that take the lead, that, you know, like they take their role very serious. And whatever expectations are placed on them, like whatever shoe it is that they see they need to fit into, they are doing what they have to do. They are committing themselves to whatever role or position this is, right? But what I really see this child could use a lot of is just a break. This child could use a break, you know, and like some words of encouragement of just telling them like it's okay to relax, to take a break, to not have to work so hard every single day of your life. I just feel that this kid is going to like burn themselves out, because that's what it looks like. It looks like this kid has reached like a level of burnout, and they might be creating like that negative habit of wanting to be perfect, you know, wanting to be a perfectionist and wanting to do whatever role it is that they need to do, whatever responsibility it is that they need to do, and to do it well, and to always show up no matter what, and to like maintain this like really perfect image where it feels like they themselves feel like they can't make any mistakes, or like they can't fall out of line, or like they can't, you know, like what I'm seeing here is this kid might start like growing a mask, you know, growing a mask of like, okay, this is what everyone wants to see, this is what's expected of me, but then you never truly know what's really happening like behind that mask, what's truly happening underneath the surface, that they're tired, that maybe this isn't their truth, that they were like pushed into this role. And this isn't really truly where they thrive, but like they're very high functioning children that appear very successful on the outside, but maybe in the inside, they want to take a whole different direction, or maybe they feel a different way than what they're letting on. At the end of the day, this child is still developing, is still growing, and this child can still change, they can change their mind, their outlook, their opinions, but it seems that currently they are in a very like fixed energy of routine, responsibilities, roles, and they seem to be a very advanced and gifted child that is independent and is very good, in whatever it is, like a sport or in academics and schools or whatever it is, like that is expected of them. They're going to stick to it because it's almost like being ingrained, like this is what you're here to do. This is what you're good at. This is what you get praised for. This is what you have to do to continue to be loved. Even if that's not the messaging you want to give this child, I feel like it's just what they're getting from this experience. Feeling like in order for me to be important, in order for me to have value, in order for all of these people to continue to love me, I have to do this. I have to meet these expectations and continue to meet these expectations and continue to do well and like be perfect. And it could also be showing them that like it's the surface that counts. It's like, oh, well, as long as everyone else is happy and they see that I'm doing good, that I'm still getting the good grades, or that I'm, still excelling in whatever, or that I'm going down that path, I'm following the path that is carved out for me exactly how they want me to, then it's all good. As long as I can upkeep this image on the surface, that's all that matters. Versus them being able to really like sit and feel and use their discernment to see like, is this what they really want? You don't always have to be, hitting every single mark. You're a kid, you can take off some of this pressure. It's okay to be a kid. It's okay to need help. It's okay to need guidance. It's okay not to always be, the role model, the ideal image. It's okay to be human. It's okay to want something different, to really like know themselves versus know themselves through an identity that is given to them. Okay, so that is current energies. Ooh. I haven't even asked the question, so I'm not going to take these. Okay, so the next question we're going to be looking into is, how do these kids or this child perceives you? How does this child perceive you? How does this child see you? Let's see. How does this child see you? Okay, so this child could actually be seeing you as going through a really hard time. This child could see that you've gone through some really difficult ending, or that you're very tired. You've reached kind of like a breaking point where you may just be exhausted with life and feeling bound and restricted and helpless in your sadness, like just stuck in a really bad place mentally and emotionally, and just being very stagnant because of it. So this child could have seen you going through a really difficult time. So this makes more sense now, because this child probably feels like a responsibility, for kind of taking care of things and like being that person that handles things, that takes on responsibilities, that is, that solid foundation, is creating like some type of structure and making sure that things just go smoothly and make sure that things are in their place, because they might see that right now, for whatever reason, the parent or the adult is unable to take on these tasks. So especially if you're the parent of this child, if you're asking about your own child, this child is trying to take over. Like this child sees like okay, right now my parent is not in the best position, is not in the best place, so it falls on me. The responsibilities fall on me. It's up to me to keep things like in order and flowing smoothly. That falls on me. That's now my responsibility. This child is also seeing you with so much love. They love you so much. They see you as such a beautiful person, a sensitive person, an emotional person, a person that is very like open with their love, vulnerable with their feelings, someone that has a big heart, that cares about others truly. And I think it really pains them to see you in this way. They definitely see that you went through some sort of an ending, that you like lost something or you had to sacrifice something, or you're kind of like stuck. Like I just see stuck energy, stagnant energy, because you need to like move past something that you haven't been able to like overcome yet. And this child can see this very, very clearly. And they're trying their best to like take responsibility, to be like that person that can handle the burden and help you move through, or like take on certain responsibilities that maybe aren't theirs to take on, but that they see that you're unable to take on right now. So they are making themselves responsible for it. I am getting like strongly that this energy that they're perceiving is in their home. So you may be asking about your child or about a child that you share a home with. But yeah, a lot of heavy energy, a lot of sad energy. I feel like they're perceiving you to be in this energy. Remember, this is from their perspective, is not necessarily what's the truth. So keep that in mind. But this is how this child is perceiving you, or someone that they share a home with. But it seems that you are this child's happiness. They love you. You're their family. They have very deep emotional ties to you and feel very sensitive towards you or towards this energy. I feel like for some of you, it's going to be different. Like for some of you, this is a child you're dealing with directly, that you do live with, that can be your own child. Or these messages might be resonating for you for a child that is close to you. And maybe Spirit is just trying to like put this all into context so that you can, first of all, identify the child and the situation. And if it is resonating, they want you to know exactly what this child could be going through and experiencing, so that you can have like all of the information. So because this is a general reading, just take it as it resonates, okay? But I do think that there's a lot of heavy energy here, and I think this child is going through a really hard time. I think the responsibilities that this child is taking on is a lot for them. And even if they don't show it, even if they seem super unaffected and strong and still on track with things, they are definitely affected by this energy. They are being affected. I feel that they are sad. They are burdened. They are feeling pain too. But they're just trying to put on their best face and continue to be that perfect kid, you know? So let's move on then to the next question, which is, how are you influencing this child? How do you influence this child? All right, let's see. So currently I'm seeing that you're not really influencing this child in the best ways. I feel like the influence you have on this child right now is they feel very like trapped, stuck, bound. Like I just feel like they're going to be feeling like very controlled by addictions or yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to just say this like out front. This is definitely one of the more difficult messages. This is like probably the more difficult pile of the three. So please make sure that you're okay emotionally and mentally to be consuming this reading right now, okay? Because it may be triggering. This seems to be difficult energy. So make sure that you're up like to receive this, to sit through this, because it seems that this child is not seeing that you're in the best place. This child knows that you're not in a good place. I don't know what may have happened to you It could very well be justified. We all go through our ups and downs. We are human, and this life is not easy. But whatever it is that you are going through, it's definitely affecting this child in a negative way. Again, this child may not be like outwardly showing this to you. I feel like this child is masking. They're putting on a show, they're pretending, they're trying to live up to their responsibilities, to do what is expected of them, but they are unwell, they don't feel good, they're sad emotionally, mentally, they can be burnt out, overwhelmed, exhausted. This child needs support in all ways. They need support. They are very conflicted. There's a lot of tension here. I feel that this child is being influenced to kind of like have like this double life, to have these two sides, you know, like the side that they present to the world, the side that's acceptable, and then the side that's for them, the side that no one else sees. And like to a certain extent, we all do that, right? We all have that. We have like our own internal personal relationship with ourselves that really no one sees. Maybe there are certain things that we all keep to ourselves, and that I think that's normal. But I feel like in the way that it's happening or presenting here in this reading, it's like at an extreme where it's going to be really hard for this child maybe to like let other people in, or maybe to even see the problem, you know, to know what the problem is. It's like they might always just feel uneasy, unsatisfied, unhappy, very up and down with their emotions. They might even have like a personality disorder, like bipolar or borderline personality disorder, or they might have some kind of like disorder that they're masking because like they don't feel safe to express it. Like they feel like it's something that they have to hide. It's something that will be shunned, that won't be accepted. And maybe they're developing like very toxic ways of coping with this uneasiness, with this like feeling of just tension and dissatisfaction that they feel inside. There's a risk of finding like harmful ways to cope. So if they've seen you, you know, trying to cope in harmful ways, this is how they're being influenced. They're learning too, like, oh, when things get difficult and when things get overwhelming, when I'm ready to shut down or have a meltdown, when I need to escape, the way I cope with this is by engaging in toxic behaviors. So if you're, you know, for example, if you're drinking or engaging in some type of like substance abuse or something, they're learning that too. Like they're learning that this is how you cope. This child, you know, seems like either they have it or they're developing like, it seems to be very anxious. They're going to have a lot of anxiety. They're going to want to be perfect. They seem like they're going to have, like they might already be exhibiting, or it's developing unhealthy perfectionism where they're going to like be really picky with themselves and need to have like a certain level of control. And I know that perfectionism is linked to anxiety, which I'm seeing here, and it can also be linked to other mental health disorders such as OCD. So yes, please consider this child's mental health. They might be developing certain personality disorders. I think they need help. They need guidance. They need intervention because they are feeling very burdened and overwhelmed with everything at this point. And it doesn't seem that they have a lot of good influence around them, and the influence that they do have around them is just further pushing them like into this hole of developing like maladaptive behaviors, unhealthy coping mechanisms, masking, not being honest about what's really happening, being a perfectionist, being really, really picky and being really hard on themselves, and just feeling like internally trapped and bound, and like they can't escape this negativity, you know, like this child does not feel at peace. There's a lot of chaos inside. They're not balanced at all. And I don't think that they are perceiving the world through healthy lens at all. It's a very distorted perception, and this child definitely could use professional guidance, help, assistance, because I do think that they're like on the path to develop a personality disorder or a mental disorder, and they're developing unhealthy patterns of thinking, functioning, behaving, where there's going to be like a distorted view of the world and how they relate to situations and people. And this is going to cause a lot of problems and limitations in, relationships, personal relationships, social relationships, and social activities and work and school. And I think that this could be like a very functioning person, I feel. Like they could look like they have it all together. They could be very intelligent, very smart, but it's like they're unwell. This is a reading geared towards children. So if this child is still not in teenage years, I feel like it's developing. But if this child is already like in teenage years or close to teenage years, this is like starting already. So they may think that, this way of being, thinking, and behaving is normal because it's so natural to them. This is just the way that they are. They don't know that anything else exists. And so they might blame other people for the challenges that they face. And maybe this is what they're seeing you doing. And this is why they are being influenced to also take on these perspectives, okay? And again, like, this is a more difficult message to get. So I'm so sorry if you're still here and you're listening and this is resonating for you. Thank you, for even being able to hear this, because this isn't easy. This isn't an easy message. So I want to make sure that I let you know that just the fact that you're still here, still listening, still willing to hear the rest of this shows a lot, okay? And I don't want you to feel guilty. Like I said, life is hard and it's not always fair, and some people are dealt really unfortunate situations. And unfortunately, some of us have to go through very challenging, difficult experiences, life circumstances, that this is what happens to us, We have this trauma that we have to work through, that we have to resolve. And you may not want to be influencing this child in this way, like passing on your issues and your trauma to anyone, but it's almost like you can't help it, So make sure that you are receiving the help that you need. You need to first help yourself before you can try to help those around you, okay? Remember, this child is learning from you. So it's never too late to turn things around. Never. This child could be a teenager, could be even in adult years, and it's never too late to turn things around, to relearn things, and to choose to do better. And the more that you can get yourself on track and can get your own, issues regulated and under control, and can just even start on that path, like just get on that path. This child is super observant. They're going to pick up on it, and it's going to then turn this whole thing around. And now you're introducing a new energy, a new way, a new outlook, a new perspective, and then they're going to be influenced in a whole different way. So first and foremost, take care of you. I deeply recommend therapy, professional help, talk therapy. It's just like really helpful to get like that outsider perspective, that third person perspective that can help you pinpoint and identify problem areas and can give you ways to cope in a more healthy way, so that you can start working through these things and working through these issues. Take responsibility for yourself, take accountability of your life, and work on getting better, and this could be a lifelong thing depending on what it is that you're tackling here. So know that there is no quick fix. All of us are in process, on a journey, There is no ending. There's never an end point. The ending is your awareness. And right now, something deeply needs your awareness so that you can choose differently, choose to get help, identify that you need help, identify that feeling this way is not normal. You shouldn't be feeling this way, and that help is available. And simply you getting help and figuring things out little by little, slowly but surely, going down that path towards healing is going to make all of the difference for this child, because they're watching and they're absorbing and they're learning from you. They're picking up on all of your habits, all of your coping mechanisms and strategies. They're internalizing it and it's being ingrained in them. Maybe this is something like this is like a generational thing. Maybe, you weren't raised under the best circumstances and your parents, passed this down to you. And now you're passing this down to this child. It's something that needs to be broken. It's a cycle that needs to be broken instead of repeated. And there's an opportunity here to break it so that it doesn't continue. So please get help if you can't afford therapy, because I know it's not accessible for everyone. There is help out there that you can get for free. If you're watching this video on the internet, then you have access to the internet and there are resources. I will try to link some of them below for you. But of course, I'm not a professional. I'm not qualified to give any type of mental health advice. So I think that's also important for you to know. But there are a lot of therapists out there that create content that can be very helpful. There are so many books and workbooks that you can find online. And if this is a more substance abuse issue or alcohol or addiction, I recommend AA. I think that's normally free as well, and again has really high success rates if you stick to it. Okay, so moving on to the next question is, how can you best support this child? Okay, so you can best support this child by helping this child to figure out who they really are, help them find their own identity, or encourage them to be an individual and to find what do you like to do? How do you feel? To think for themselves, to have their own opinions and their own ideas, and to not be afraid to move in their own way. You can best support this child by talking about feelings, talking about the hidden things, maybe things that confuse them, because this child may be very confused and not able to connect certain dots. And then also you encourage them to be more authentic with their feelings, with their emotions. Let those come through and not be afraid, and feel that they have to stuff everything down, but to teach them that their emotions are important. Maybe to sit with them through some of their more difficult emotions, support them through those. Teach them that, it's important that they let their emotions pass, that they feel, they learn to sit with their emotions and feel them. And it's okay if they need to break down and cry. That can be a very cathartic experience. And maybe they need, they need to purge. They need a cleansing, a purifying. They need to release. They need to feel free and to feel accepted and validated for who they are. They need support. They need an adult, someone responsible, someone that's going to provide structure and order throughout this process, someone that knows what they're doing, and just, be there for them, love them, show them a good time, have a good time with them, prioritize happiness, love, joy, bliss, dreams, creativity. Let them use their imaginations, let them explore, and having that freedom of expression, and to learn how to work through those more difficult emotions instead of stuffing everything down and masking and repressing and pretending. This child needs this change in their life right now. This is how they can best be supported, to turn everything around, to break the chains, to create a difference, to be the difference, to find what lights them up, so that they may find their own authenticity and be comfortable and confident to live authentically in their truth, to be who they are, to have that chance, that opportunity to work through any issues, trauma, blockages, limitations, to break free and to get to meet who they truly are, so that they can, have confidence and believe in themselves and believe in their ideas. And it's important that you learn to respond to their emotional cues so that they can feel loved and supported. And I'm telling you, because this child had such a difficult start, it seems, this is going to be their greatest gift. This is going to be their strength. Overcoming this, overcoming these hard times, overcoming these difficult circumstances and learning how to cope. They're going to learn how to pick up on things, and maybe they're then going to be able to help others in similar situations because they're going to be able to tell the signs and help others through it and sit with others in their dark moments, through their pain, help others find their light in the darkness. Of course, only once they learn how to regulate themselves and when they are older to be a support system for others. They will learn how to be able to experience life from happy lens, from positive lens, instead of like from this really anxious, repressed, sad space, like a sad state of being, and be truly happy, be authentically happy, and be able to really experience that. Instead of being like in the state of being where it's so hard to access that happiness, that peace, that bliss that we all deserve to feel. It is our God-given right to feel loved, to be loved, to perceive and to witness the beauty that is us, that we are, to see the truth of ourselves, to see our light. It is our God-given right to experience that, to know that, to live it every day. This child needs help getting there, and this is going to be this child's greatest gift. Their biggest wound becomes their greatest gift. And this is going to break the chains, not only for you, but for this child. So it depends, the actions that you choose to take, because this is just picking up on current energies. This is like a snapshot, but it is totally possible to shift this energy completely. But you have to take the steps, make the choice, move in that direction, slow and steady. Help yourself, and just helping yourself helps this child. It influences this child in a good way, and then when you're in a better place where you can then get something more structured for this child, whether it's yourself that provides it or you get a professional to come in and assist so that you guys, can apply everything you're learning and just break the chains and create a whole different reality for yourselves. It is 100% possible, and it is 100% in your power to be able to do so. You guys can be successful, and you can work together on this. Maybe like even family therapy would be good, like individual therapy and then family therapy if it's possible. But I do see that you can be successful with this, and you can reach a place of peace, where you're not, everything doesn't always feel so hard, and you're not always so sad and always so consumed and feeling defeated and feeling like your trauma's won. That's not how it's supposed to feel. Life loves you, God loves you, the universe loves you, and it only wants to see you thrive. It only wants to see you do good. Everything else is an illusion of the mind, unresolved emotions that you may have, faulty beliefs. You can find peace, but it's going to come directly through your actions. Whatever outcome you want to have is going to be a direct reflection of the actions that you choose to take. And you always have the power to choose higher, to choose better, to make better decisions. And if you do so, you will be successful. Things will be fair, just. You will reach a place where you feel at peace, finally, where you can see things as they are, and where you will feel very balanced and very healthy and very aligned with, Spirit's true plan for you. And where you're going to be able to feel the love, and see the good in the world and be happy and feel free and be able to unleash that creativity and have fun, have a good time. See that there's so much to experience and so much to enjoy, all right here at your fingertips, at your disposal, just waiting for you, okay? So that was your message. I truly hope this served you. Again, this was a more difficult one to hear. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. I think that shows like a good sign of being willing to want to do better and to choose higher and to know that that's in your power and to take that power and to move forward with it, okay? I will try to put some of the resources down below to see if any of those help you. And okay, I truly hope these messages have served you. Thank you so much for watching. Wishing you the very, very best. And until next time, bye.